how porn and sexual liberation is so clearly about population control. It's about killing life. You know, we're joking about how like porn. Okay, this is about to get a little graphic. If you got kids listening, just give it about 5 minutes. I'll give you 10 seconds to adjust properly. Just give me 5 minutes of this is R. It's about to get R rated for a little bit. I'm not promoting anything R rated, but I have to address it. All right, so in pornography, you know, people will be like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna come on your face." That's common in porn. And by the way, don't act like you don't know this stuff. Porn is so watched that it's crippling. 99% of males. And it's very demeaning. And at no point did I ever think that was cool. Even when I was like a hedonistic man, I never I never understood why someone would come on someone's face. You know, where it's like, because when you have an orgasm, your mood changes immediately. I did a bit in college about this where I was like, oh, this is such a good idea. And then as soon as you come, you're like, who am I? Who are you? Where am I? How do I get home from here? Where it's like, imagine, it's about destroying what's beautiful. And it's the same with sodomy. It's the same with birth control. It's the same with condoms. All of it. It's basically a little grabber being like, you want to know what's hot? Yeah. Want to know what's real sexy? Just pull out and then when you come, just burn it. It's like, what? It's like, yeah, just burn your jizz. Just like burn it. It's like, you want to know what's real sexy? Dude, the sexiest thing in the world is looking in the eyes of someone you love and just putting a baby in their womb. That's sexy. There's nothing like that in the entire world. Like put a baby in her. But no, the way that this upside down nonsense world, it's like, you want to know what's real sexy? Want to know what's sexy? What's that? Well, take your cock and wrap it with plastic, you know, because you don't even know the girl you're having sex with. And then right as you're going to come, like pull out and then just like burn it. Like what? Yeah, burn. You're like, burn it. So there's no jizz anywhere. Yeah. Here's a false binary. Spit or swallow. You've heard of that, right? When a girl gives a blowjob, does she spit or does she swallow? That's a false binary. That assumes blowjob. Why would you ever come in a girl's mouth? That's insane. It's like, yeah, want to know the best place to come? Where? Just burn it. Why? So then you don't have kids. Like, does she spit or swallow? It's like, why would you ever come in someone's mouth? You can't get a mouth pregnant. That's weird. You know, in my peak hedonism, I was drawn to more, like, I was always drawn to, I never, like, did this, but in a world where I had no faith, no core, no feet on the ground, nothing, it would be more like a sultan existence. Like, I would be like, I want 1,000 kids. You know, it would never be like anal. Like the fact I was like on the Instagram stream, we are talking about that. Like, why do all these celebrities go homo? It's like you want to know what's real sexy? Like, I can understand someone being like, it's not right. It's not the right way to live. I would reject this completely. I'm happily married. I don't even covet other women anymore. That's something that you grow out of if you just live a good life. Like I literally don't. I'm sure it's possible in me again if I just like unleashed floodgates and just went insane. But like I could understand being like, oh yeah, I'm just going to have like 10 wives and get them all pregnant. Bad move, but like that's hedonism. I don't understand like, oh, you know, I'm so hedonistic. You want to know what I'm going to do? I'm going to like fuck a guy. Like what? Love, truth, and reality. Yeah, but Big Bear, mountains are beautiful. No, it's gross. It's always been gross. It's always been weird that anybody would want to defile a beautiful face or wrap up their dick with plastic. No pause is obviously ideal. Not for everyone wants a kid every time though. So, well, you shouldn't always fuck like you're gonna make a kid. Always. We can't make a mouth pregnant, but there is no harm in trying. Jeffrey, you're a retard. Literal vampire pop belly goblins are hobbling around coming after us. Boy, you got, yeah, but it's like, I don't even get how that happens though. Like Dr. Dre and Eminem and all these like homos, like confirmed, by the way. You know, they'll have their like yacht orgies and stuff, and then they end up just like with guys. Like that isn't, see, that's what I mean. That's a hatred of God. Like hedonism would be like just pleasure, female pleasure as much as possible, right? Sodomy with a woman, with a man, anything, that's a hatred of God. Like to want to pull out and come on someone's face, that's not amoral, that's immoral. That's the upside down. That's saying like, I'm going to destroy that which is beautiful. Hedonism, the hedonism I experienced was just more women, more partying, more high-fiving, more crushing. You know, just women, more. It was never like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a woman that's beautiful and just like have sex with her ass. Never in my life. Like that never even occurred to me, even like drunk on the road, you know, after just closing Vince Vaughn, you know, giant theater, you know, and I'm just surrounded by women that are attracted to me. And it's like, at no point am I like, anus? That's like, there's something really disturbing about that to me. And the older I get, the more I'm like, yeah, because back then I just thought it was a preference thing. You know, I'd have friends who are like, oh yeah, I had all this anal sex. And I'm like, gross. And they're like, yeah, you're gross. You know, they get real insecure about that. Straight into the fire. I know. Well, that's the funniest part. It's like, yeah, you want to know what's so hot? You want to know what's so sexy? What's that? Right when you're going to come and make a baby, pull out and just burn it. Just like shoot it right into a fire. Why? It's just so sexy to do that. I think the come on the face thing is like a humiliation. Right. And then you find out who runs the porn industry. It's people who hate God. They wear very small hats. I've lost male friends over this. Yeah, it's so weird. There's no purpose. You know, like I understand the hedonism that just wants as many women as possible, or like they want just pleasure. You know, but the upside down, to defile, to degrade, to embarrass, to humiliate, that's Satanism. That's not the absence. That isn't like the absence of morality. That's the inverse of reality. And that's one reason why I'm so hard on sodomites. Because it's like, why? Why would you want to cause pain? Why would you want that? All right. You can allow your children to come back. You see why I warned, though? That was a graphic discussion. But these things need to be talked about. We have to address that right now our opium war is porn. It's like flooded. And it's changing the wiring of people's brains. The good news is you can get your brain back. You can get your mind back. It's like now that I haven't watched porn now in years, it's like everything is sexual with my wife. And I don't covet other people. Because the thing is like porn makes you covet other women way more than anything else does. Because you're literally wiring your brain to be a creepy little voyeur looking at other people. And looking at other women. You're masturbating to another woman that isn't your wife. That's, on a level, that's infidelity, in my opinion. Oh, how dare it? Amy was fine with me watching porn before, but when I stopped, like, she likes me better now. But I'm not doing this because I was pressured and cucked. It's the exact opposite. At first, Amy thought that I would be too wound up. You know, because when I was first not watching porn or whacking, it was like, you know, I was starting to be like, you know, I was looking at moon landing stuff and all that. And, you know, from a woman's point of view, at first it's a little overwhelming to get that rush of testosterone to resurge. And you're also jerking off a guy, even if that guy is you. Right. It's hard to accept God, for man does not want to give up for their sin. Yes, it's adultery. Yeah, I at first I didn't think it was. And it's like I'll tell you another experience that I had recently. So I was in this short film that's really funny called Hand Job Cabin. It got like 30 million views, right? Watch it. It's funny. But like I haven't watched it in a really long time, and it still was like jarring. Like the jerking. Like just because I don't watch porn or horror movies or anything, it was like I was laughing. I was like, ah, it's still funny. But like just to show jerking under a blanket and stuff, I was like, Jesus. You really can rewire your brain. Like what I'm doing with George right now is I take him running every morning with an extremely short leash. And so every move I make, it affects him because he's having an issue with running out, right? It's like, it got to the point where I'm like, I can't even get close to this dog. He's going to spiral. So honest, UB, thanks for being. Well, there's no other way. I mean, I could do it better myself. Reprehensible. In early 20s, I had lots of girlfriends, more than one at a time. Some dude once spoke about anal. I thought it was sick. Years later, I got into it with girls. In hindsight, it's learned and sick. Yeah. It's just weird. I don't know. I guess everybody has a different more button. My more button was never more things with one person. It wasn't like, oh, I've had so much vaginal sex, I have to start having it. For me, it was just like more people. When I was a hedonist, that's what it was. It was never like, oh, I got to like cover myself in like leather and just be a fucking weirdo. At no point was I ever drawn to that. I guess everybody's different though. I don't know. I can help you fix all your dog. No, it's already helping a lot. Because now he has to see every move he makes is now tied into me. And so now I'm like trying to bring him around the property and leave his leash and just chill and just move and just have him recognize that I'm moving so that he comes with me. And it's really working. You can rewire brains. If you stop watching porn for a year, stop watching violent movies, stop watching the news, you really start seeing the world a lot more for what it is. It isn't for your enjoyment. Like when you see a girl in a bikini, you're not supposed to stare at them. You're not supposed to want them. That isn't normal. It's not like, that isn't how you should wire your brain. And when you watch porn, that's what you do. Like, you know, you're like this, you're always a voyeur. I think that's one reason why men don't mind that women are fans of mine and stuff, because you can smell, you can feel when it's not about that. You know, when the message is good and the message isn't about sexual attention. And you can't fake that. You either are that or you're not that. And same with violence. Like when you realize that so much of this violence, so much of these like scenes of, you know, troopers kicking in doors and people getting shot and explosions and end of the world apocalyptic scenes, like you'll be born, you'll live, and you'll die, and you'll never see any of it. And so why live in fear? Because when you're in that fear state, you won't criticize people who need to be criticized. You won't stand up for your rights. You won't do anything. You'll just sit there and think that at any time you're going to be attacked. And you're not. Did you work on none of your business? I'm very open about my past and vulnerable things and personal things, but like, don't ask me questions. How's that sound? It's hard to go to bars because there's a lot of trans. I never go to bars. I don't drink. Like my social life a lot of times is talking to bears on Instagram streams. Like I don't, you know, I only hang out with like my neighbors and we just like talk about like goats and like making apple cider and stuff. Like I'm living a life that's similar to like 1850. I haven't been to a bar in so long. Can you imagine a giant room full of men watching the most depraved porn? That is the truth about what goes on in military ships. Oh yeah, it's like that in college. You know, in college, dudes would always just like watch porn in the same room as other dudes. That was like what I swear college is like it's a wiring problem. They put people that are like fresh off puberty in little rooms, in little dorms, and teach them all this depraved like sexual liberation shit in classes all day. And then they seek approval from their teachers. Like, if I get an A, I have to like say that sexual liberation is great. You know, there's classes teaching about masturbation and stuff and like pro porn. And they just put all these people in these little rooms with no privacy and no parental guidance. And they're like, okay. And it's like, what the fuck was that? I like looking back, it's like, it's intentional. It's intentional that college is nothing more than a drunken fuckfest. just women are not safe there. And dudes are just too like gross around each other. It's almost like being in like the submarine guys. Why do you think they want free college for everyone? Yeah, it's like a mind warp. Do I have tattoos? No, I'm not a sodomite. And that's higher education. I know. It's insane. LOL, they teach masturbation in school. It's sad. I know. It's true. It's crazy. And then what do you get in return? Debt. Porn these days is super ancestral. It's so creepy. I had to quit. Good for you. Yeah, and back in the day it was race mixing. They're always trying to push 10 years out what they want. The future to be in porn first, because if you whack off to it, you can't oppose it in your life very well. You know, when it's like blacks on blondes and all this shit, they set all this up before they flood Europe with fucking Somalians. It's pretty obvious because, you know, men without all that whacking and social programming, they would be like, no, this is wrong. I don't want these Somalians raping my daughter. But if you've whacked off to it, you're now cucked. You're conditioned. And then people go, oh, what are you, racist? As soon as someone calls me a racist because I don't think that there should be migration flooding of countries from like, you know, this like race shit. I know that they just watch porn all the time. If you literally see that as racist, to be like, I don't think a bunch of Somalians in their 30s should flood, you know, British cities with young girls, and then they call you racist. My only response is, you're a pervert. Because any natural, normal man would react appalled to that. Where it's just like I want the blonde girl. It's like, what? Go to college for engineering and medical field. Just don't even go to college. They teach masturbation in 5th grade. Yeah, but in my day, it wasn't that yet. It was in college, though. Exactly, BB. Yeah, I can identify a pervert like that. It all starts with porn. It's like when people are always watching this, like, orgying and blacks on blondes and all these Jews banging these blonde runaways. It makes it so people then will react angrily at anyone pointing out how bad it is. It's like, no, they shouldn't mix. Oh, how dare you? It doesn't work. It puts women in this. I'm a farmer. You don't mix weasels and chickens. I'm not saying to genocide the weasel, but I'm just saying keep them the fuck away from your chickens. Tommy's doing more than Tommy Robinson is doing nothing. All he's doing is giving people a fake voice so that they can keep flooding England. Tommy Robinson does absolutely nothing. Who is surprised our military are a bunch of fags? I was exposed to porn at a very young age, and looking back, I think it really fucked me up. I didn't understand what it did to me until way later. Same here. Yeah, same here. The enemy is so weak. If we would just realize the strength we have as children, we of light, we would hope for a future victory. We would know we have a future. Yeah, you can choose victory right now. Right now. Boom. You're already winning. You're never going to take down the banks. You're never going to make poppy fields extinct. You cannot engage. Don't take the ticket. That's it. You got to really manage your expectations when it comes to what you can and what you cannot do in your life. What you can do is take a vacant field and make it beautiful and productive. What you can is speak the truth to your friends and neighbors. What you can do is every day, every moment of your day, you make choices based on what you think is right. What you can't do is kill the bankers. You can't, burn all the poppies. They're going to exist. Poppies actually in nature have a value. But it's like, don't do heroin. Don't accept the trauma. Don't, reject the trauma that will draw you to opioids. Tommy's controlled opposition, beyond. It's insane, and he takes so much money for it. We're not a frame of house, right? The first thing you can do is stop watching pornography. Have a relationship that's based on the desire for children. Never come in a girl's mouth. You know, want to know what's real sexy? Yeah, right as when you're going to come, just pull out and then just burn it. It's real sexy. Just burn it. Just throw it in the fire. Why? Because we don't want you to have a family so you stay in a slave state. What's wrong with Tommy? He's played by a Jones handler and he's a prick. Oh, he's terrible. He's giving people false hope. There's nothing worse than that. I remember when I lost my mind. There was something so pleasant about that day. Even your emotions had an echo in so much space. Ever since I was little, it looked like fun. I can die when I'm done. Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Yeah, blowjobs are for fags. I have to say it is an awesome stream. Thank you, The Art of Quiet Bear. John Mayer famously couldn't have sex with Katy Perry without watching porn. Oh yeah, they're in their own hell. Don't covet their lives. Don't covet their stuff. I've hung out with John Mayer. It's like, I know that guy. He's all right. He's pretty funny. But it's like, don't want to trade places with that guy. Let me tell you. It's brutal existence. When you are potentially, never have sex with anyone you wouldn't have a child with. Start there. Don't ever have sterile sex. So you say you can have sex for pleasure? Have sex for pleasure. But never wear a condom and never use a birth control pill. It's almost like if you don't have a fence, you have to really train your dog. It's like, but I want a fence so I can just let me. Well, let's say you don't have a fence, then you won't let your dog run around unless you know that he will heal. Or else he'll just run out. It's like, think of sex that way. Think of sex as if you never have sterile sex, you only have sex with people that you would potentially have a child with. So that ends that. And then from there, that's how you date. That's how you marry. That's how you live your life. Never, ever, ever put your dick in somebody that you wouldn't have a kid with. Because if you would, you may potentially be facing with it a desire to murder a baby, an innocent baby. The pleasure is not worth it, guys. There's much more pleasure in raising a family and raising chickens. All right. No sterile sex. No sodomy.